All right, we're live. We're live. We're live. Beena will join us any moment now or shortly. Omino. Brilliant, 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 brilliant. All right, we'll get going in a moment. Just got to do all the sharing and connecting and tagging and all that stuff. There's no quick way to do that.
Yes, it is not a quick way to do that. Hello.
Hello, Beena. Wow, hello, Magicness. Oh, that's brilliant. Good
Yes,
timing. Good
yes.
timing. Good
Hello, everyone.
timing.
Hello, Syl. Hello, Grain. This is good to have that again. And we are
Mm,
all good. We are recording it. So, of course, it is
yes,
going to be
yes.
available on YouTube and Facebook also. And in the group, you can join. Live is always fun and more productive because it is
Yeah,
interactive and you can share your
yeah.
comments, you can ask your questions, and uh, and then of course I will convey that, and still also always look for messages. Then it gives more. Like okay, it actually
Yeah.
provides. It is like you're adding into this by asking questions, by commenting, and whatever you want to do that.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is
Oh,
always helpful. It always bring moreness. Anyway,
it's
so
bonus. It's
today,
bonus, right,
yes,
Vina? It's bonus for us.
yes, yes, it is bonus for us. Uh, so today's thought, before coming here, we were busy and we were doing some not so fun kind of stuff. Usually, the perception of that type of work is not fun. It's boring. It's tiring. It's like okay,
Not
it
for
cannot be
us.
fun time. So this is the main perception of this type of work. Like okay, making lists and
Hello,
collecting
Norma.
things.
Sorry, Vina, to interrupt you. Hello, Norma. Hello, Norma. So salad. No,
Hello,
keep going, keep
Norma.
going.
Okay, so we were busy doing that stuff, going into
Inventory. Yeah.
details, finding things, and checking again and again. And of course dealing with the slow internet sometimes, or maybe just a slow my it was my laptop and like okay yes emails, a lot of things happening. But the usual concept or the perception of this type of work is it's not fun, it's a boring thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so but when me and Sylvie were busy, and of course some other people also, we were working together, and it was fun. It
Yeah.
was fun.
Oh, it's great fun. It was
So
wonderful.
we were struggling to sometimes like okay yes where to find this, how to find this, but that that is struggling was actually giving us fun thing and joy because we
Joy.
have a
Yeah.
different understanding that oh yes we are going to find that. So our focus was not on the struggle or the stress, but the focus was on when we are going to find that it is not only going to fix whatever we were doing, but also
Yeah.
is to find something with your skills. It is to
Yes.
find a proof of your impeccability. Of course not
Yes.
100%, we are just trying to be, at least I'm just trying to be, but at least it was a proof of your being thorough. Then
Yes.
it becomes,
Yes.
so then the boring task, the mundane and a very like okay yes okay it is what it is, it's like a kind of work. It was not a work for us.
No.
It exactly like when an artist like tried to fix some colors and they were not finding the right color, and they try and they try and they try again, and then they were like wow, it's the same joy, because the joy is not on that job or in that art piece or anything. The joy is within us. We
In the
have to
doing.
find,
Yes.
yes, we have to find that. We have to focus on that.
Yeah.
And that is something we were busy doing. And this is again another, you can say that, okay, perks of way of impeccability, that you can find joy in the most usually perceived boring and mundane
Yeah.
activities.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
find joy and fun into this. And
Yeah.
also, this is also a very, very profound mechanism to find people's real understanding. When you work on something like this, which is not fun, which is boring, which is tiring, which is challenging you in some way, then you actually find people's real temperament, real patience, real keenness or willingness to do things. If they are not getting tired of, if they are willing to do this, if they are not getting stressed by, bothered by that, you can actually find your tribe there. I think that, okay, doing boring jobs, odd jobs, like, okay, yes, kind of really boring, mundane, then you can find real essence of people. And this is something really amazing. I was feeling joy because I see
Yes.
people I'm working with have have this passion to get things done, even if they are not so fun kind of activities. But still, their keenness to get
Yeah.
this. This is, I think that it must be, in my understanding, according to my understanding, this must be the criteria for any kind of relationship. If you can, if you can have fun, joy, and at least you can survive these type of activities, most likely you will have a good
Yeah.
relationship.
Oh yeah.
Because life
Oh
is
yeah.
not all
Oh yeah.
rosy, life is not all always fun like a la la land. No, even to
Yeah.
be in la la land, you have to do a lot, and that a
Yeah.
lot, it's a real test. So this is what we were doing. So I feel lucky that, okay, I am with people who are like this. Even
Yes.
even in
Yes.
the most mundane things, I can still feel joy and get value. So thank you so much, Syl. I was getting so much value
Oh,
out of it. And of
oh,
course, thank you
pleasure,
so much,
pleasure,
Lubna and
pleasure.
Drushka, who were part of this. And then
Yes.
they were giving a
Yes.
lot of value to me. It was not about
Yes.
that they were doing it 100% right or not. That was not a question.
No,
The question was the
it's
intent.
immaterial. It's immaterial. We're
Yes,
making an effort to do it as best you can. That's
exactly.
it. No matter.
Exactly.
The rest is irrelevant. The rest is absolutely irrelevant. All right. I
This
want to
intent
add to what,
will lift up the push,
yeah,
the weight from other people. Yes.
exactly. Exactly. Now, there's more to it than that, right?
Hmm.
Because Nobelia-Living also comes into it.
Yes.
And what do I mean by Nobelia-Living? Well, it's a very, very broad term. But Nobelia-Living is the understanding and the appreciation and holding that appreciation specifically in mind that those you're interacting with are wonderful people. Yes, right?
Hmm.
This is
Yes.
part of Nobelia-Living. You're giving the best. You're seeing the moreness in others. You enjoying their goodness, their sensibility, their sobriety, just their basic pure goodness. They don't have to have any skills. They don't have to be special in any way. Just the fact that they are good, right? That's enough. That's all there is to it, and the fact that they are willing to learn as well, right? That's enough. You don't need any more than that. Now, as part of Nobelia-Living, we keep this front and foremost. We are always connected to this. And therefore, we are enjoying simply being with others who are enjoying themselves, who are good, who enjoy being good, who are not hung up about stuff, etc. Right? They're just simple, good people. That's it. It's very easy to enjoy being with people like that. And
Yes.
this is, the four of us earlier today. This was a little group of people who are just enjoying each other and who appreciate each other, appreciate, and have that joy of being, just being in the company. Doesn't matter what we do. It's just an excuse to basically be in each other's company, and that's a beautiful, wonderful thing, right, Beena? And you and I
Yes.
have this in our daily living too, right?
Yeah.
We do profound stuff all the time. It's part of our doing, like now, right? But we also do, we do work stuff. Beena helps me in the business, right? We're in this together.
Yes.
So, we're doing inventory, we're tagging the things and just writing inventory numbers, measuring them, just simple stuff. But we get joy out of it every day. Why? Because we get joy out of each other. Yeah. And this is a profound skill, this ability to derive joy from another's being. And see, now we get back to Nobelia-Living, right? And that is the mandate, right? It is to promote being, to just be. That's it, right? When you are enjoying being and you understand the value and the joy and the moreness of being, then life is so magical because it's so simple and so easy. Yes?
Yes.
Very profound things. And it's a very big part of Nobelia-Living, right? This appreciation of the being of others. Yeah,
Exactly.
Norma, who's here. I love Norma and I enjoy Norma. Why? Because Norma's a wonderfully good person. Yes. Is Norma fantastically skilled? Does she have, I don't know, fame and fortune? No, none of that matters, right? Because Norma is a wonderfully good person. So I enjoy Norma. I love Norma. Enjoy Norma's company. See, we have this idea that we can only be loved if we are special in some way. It's absolute nonsense. This is superiority paradigm rubbish. But no, I mean, we love babies and they aren't special. Baby's stupid. It doesn't know anything. Can't even talk yet, but yet we love it. See? So it has nothing to do with anything else other than being good. Yeah, we love babies because they're good. Yeah, as simple as that. Well, not all babies. I don't know. Some babies seem to me they come out of the kind of evil when they come out, but all right, that's just me maybe. I've had other people say the same thing. So, but in general, though, babies, we love them because they're generally good. Yeah. So again, I want to understand this. I want to share this point about what we love and what we get joy from. Simple, beautiful, wonderful goodness. Yes, it's
Exactly.
a fantastic thing. A fantastic thing. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, Nicholas. Hey, Nicholas. Nicholas said commented on the yesterday's live.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. No, on Sunday's one. On Sunday's one. All right, brilliant. All right, let's get going here. So this is too fantastic what Beena is sharing. It sounds so simple because it is so simple, but at the same time, it is ridiculously profound. Right? It's ridiculously profound. It's a very, very, very big deal. Very, very big deal. Is this today's one? Yeah. All right. Taking joy in the simple. It's awesome. It's awesome. And in moreness and goodness. Do you hear, Norma? Do you hear? I hope you hear. Very important. People always wonder, well, why does somebody like me? Why do they love me? I'm not special. You're good. That is special. And it's very, very special. Just to be a basic, simple, ordinary, good person. This is very special. Right, Beena?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. It's super precious as well. All right. Let's carry on. Where were we? Where were we? Okay. I want to go over a bit where we were yesterday, right, Beena? Because we did
Yes.
yesterday. And I want to just share. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. Screen share. All right. Okay. And I can see the comments, and here we are. All right. So now this is where Biella times it so that as she loops around this branch, it's like a circle, then you come back to the main branch, but there's this kind of curtain of vines and stuff hanging down. And so she times it so that she would come and just be on the other side of Hela and kind of bump into her, and Ursula would be on the other side, and right. So she times it just exactly right. Yeah, and she's now just bumped into Hela, and um and and uh and here's the gesture part, right? So her blonde hair was hidden by a bushy black wig, which all but covered her face. Now, however, her eyes were bright, alert, and embarrassed. Biella reigned in her surprise, replacing it with openness. Right? So here's the gesture. No judgment of any kind. She added kindness and softness. It was okay. Whatever the reasons, she assumed they were good ones. She'd wait. If they came, they came. The delegates and everyone else were free to do as they pleased. Now, this is the gesture, right, Beena? She's opening up. She's making space for Hala. She's giving her that opportunity to share or not share as she pleases, right? It doesn't matter. If she doesn't say anything, it's not a problem, right? And there's no pressure from Biella in terms of curiosity. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, you do have. I'm making a point though, Norma. Yes, I know you've got marvelous qualifications and letters after your name, but I'm making the point that that's not why I love you, and enjoy you, right? No, I love you because you're good and wonderful and just a beautiful person. Yes. All right, so let's continue reading. Oh, it doesn't matter anymore, Ayla said, removing the wig. She smiled with intelligence and intensity, the difference remarkable. I will tell all. Is there? Dot, 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 right? Is there a place we can go and sit? Yes, there certainly is, said Biella, moving back the way she and Ursula had just come. She stepped through to the circular path, but instead of going left, she turned right. In the area between the two openings stood a thick, tall, vertical tree branch. Vines and creepers hung down around the trunk, all but hiding it from view. Biella stepped through this curtain of leaves and stems. The area a few paces all around the trunk was clear. Steps protruded from the trunk, spiraling up and around. Biella started climbing. Not far, she smiled. They looped around the trunk 3 times, climbing approximately 20 paces vertically. Biella led them along a stout but fairly short branch, which had a twin parallel to it a few paces above their heads. At the end of the stout branch they were on was one of the swing benches. The branch spread into a small platform around the swing bench, allowing them to get to the front of it. It was suspended from the branch above, I should say, not from the branch above. They seated themselves with Hala in the middle. Biella lowered them through the opening. When she was done, they were in a perfect position to view and enjoy the splendor of the sky garden. These flowers are very special, Biella explained. They give off fruit, nectar, and pollen, highly desirable to birds and flutterbys, but only once. If you watch closely, you'll see none of the birds or flutterbys stay long. It's a marvelous way to spread the species. They come from far. Not that many, but there are more of these gardens on Nobelia. All right, so this is just a little interlude, this beautiful, wonderful little precious place, right? And just different, just unusual. And it just builds into the magic of Nobelia that there are special places like this on Nobelia, right? Where all these birds and butterflies are kind of streaming along and coming, and there's just thousands of them in the air, and they're picking up and then they go again. And of course, because they come from far and wide, she mentioned it, I think, earlier. She says it's a way to spread the species, right? So that, the birds aren't all the same in the same space. They're spreading around and they're spreading the genes and everything. So, and just a little fun part to show the nature and the moreness of Nobelia. I thought just something fun, but it also provides this place for them to actually sit and enjoy, right? So just a bit of moreness. Beena, will you read, please? There, can you read?
Yes.
The flowers will only grow. You read a bit, please. How big are they? All sizes, Norma. And flutterbys, not butterflies, flutterbys. On Nobelia, they are called flutterbys. That's the official name for them. Because that's what they should be called, but somebody got it mixed up once upon a time and reversed it, right? Butterflies have nothing to do with butter. Yeah, they flutter by. That's what their name is. So, and this got changed. Just on a little point on this, right? So in the agglomeration, the official dictionary word is flutterby. When they came originally on the great starships, right? And they came to this new galaxy, what they also did at that time was to change the dictionary and the language to fix all these kind of odd things like this, right? And there are many odd things in English language, and English is the standard language that everybody has to learn, right? So they didn't bring any other languages. One language, that's it, right? Doesn't matter whether you grew up and you spoke whatever language you spoke, too bad. your language is English, and everybody's language is English. And should you have any children and everything, they'll learn English, right? To avoid all of this, the hassle and complications that come from multiple languages, right? But also, they cleaned up English, and when you're not a native English speaker, there are many things like knife. Why does knife have a K in front of it, right? So in the new agglomeration dictionary, a knife is N-I-F-E. That's it, So and many other things like that, all fixed up as much as possible. Some things you have to live with. You can't really change much, but they did fix this. Now, I didn't write the story in the new English. It's still written in the old English, but with a few exceptions like flutterbies, right? But it makes sense, right? If you're going to go out into a new galaxy, why bring the baggage of this messiness of the way the language is with you? And it's simple stuff to fix. Okay, everybody has to learn it, but most of the people, English wasn't their first language anyway. So if you are going to be now really learning English and making English your only language, you're forgetting all other languages. You might as well have it and learn this new way and learn it cleaned up and tweaked and simplified and sensibilized, right? So that all those nonsense things like those silent K's that have no need to be there, all fixed, all fixed. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? How big are the butterflies compared with the trees? They aren't giant butterflies. There are some species that are pretty huge. Maybe like 3 or 4 feet, 5 feet across, 6 feet even maybe. But not giant compared to the trees. No, yeah. I mean, on the same scale, a butterfly compared to that giant tree, I don't know, that would probably be 20 or 30 feet, wingspan. But they don't exist. The giant trees are anomalous by way of giant things on the planet. Then they give, all normal sized things live there. They didn't get bigger because of the trees. And good questions, though. I love it. That's a fantastic question. So the flutterflies are a big part of, and the birds too, and other insects too. I just mentioned birds and flutterbies, but yeah. I love this, that you make mind pictures. That's the whole point of the story, and I've written things in such a way that people do make up their own. If you want to imagine massive, giant, big flutterbies that are like 100 feet across, you're more than welcome. In your Nobelia, they can be there. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. All right. Will you read, please, Beena?
Okay. Flowers will only grow in certain conditions, not growing too close to another colony. That's why they are a colony of different plants, living in a complex symbiosis. Symbiosis? It's one of the most complex life forms on Nobelia. It's still a mystery, though, how some of the birds and flutterbies are attracted from great distances.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like there's a bush telegraph that goes out amongst the birds and the flutterbies and the insects, because the smell can't travel that far, at least not as far as scientists can determine, right? Or it's against the wind, the prevailing wind can be from one direction, but yet the birds come where they upwind and they can't smell it. So it's a big mystery how this happens. But the only way they can figure that it happens is like a bush telegraph, right? Like gossip, how it spreads without phones and, and internet and things. And somehow it gets around. Well, same way. So it's just a fun thing, I like mysteries. I like to put mysteries into the story, right? Just to show we don't know everything. It's brilliant, right?
Yes. One of many compelling reasons Nobelia was chosen for the school of nobility. There were many, many uninhabited worlds at the time. Still are. Some would have been much easier to inhabit, but this one has many such unique mysteries. You sound shielded.
Nobelia, by the way, I'm just giving a bit of background stuff.
Okay.
Nobelia is in the galaxy. in the agglomeration, right? Most of the inhabited planets are relatively close-ish together, right? I mean, yes, it's a galaxy and it's spread out, and there are planets on the edge of that, obviously, but still, they're not unreasonably so far out of the way. Nobelia is an exception. There may be one or two other planets, some alien planets, but Nobelia as a settled planet is unusual. It's very far out of the way. So if you want to come to Nobelia, it really you have to make quite of an effort. It's an investment of time, quite considerable time. You're going to basically take like a whole year out of your life just to go and visit Nobelia, right? So which is it wasn't the only reason it was chosen, but it was chosen for its climate and these mysteries in it and the beauty of the place, because it's a very mild climate, right? It's got the two suns. Oh, I was explaining this yesterday. You didn't know this, Beena. So it has two suns, Nobelia, and they go in parallel, but they go over where like the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, the equivalent, right? So they don't run across the equator. In other words, they aren't these very cold poles, right? The sun shines fairly evenly across the whole planet with a bit of minor variation, and there's a slight wobble to the planet's rotation, which makes for seasons, but that's it. Very mild seasons, very mild. But for the most part, you've got ideal weather all year round and across the whole planet, right? So that's why the planet is so beautifully, the nature is so beautiful because the climate is so ideal. Yes. And also, just while I'm on it now, Nobelia is the reverse in terms of land mass to water, right? So the seas are about 30% and the land about 70%. So it's huge, huge lands, and it's a big planet too. It's a little bigger than Earth, even though the gravity is similar. It's actually bigger. So there's tons of space on Nobelia. I mean, just more than like 4 or 5 times more land space, and more utilizable land space also because of the climate. Yeah. No, it's a wonderful place, in other words, and there's many of these magical mysteries in it. It's a very unique planet, I guess, because it's so out of the way, or who knows why. There has to be some planet that's unique, maybe the twin suns or something, but lots of these mysteries. So very cool stuff. Very cool stuff. Yeah. So as we go through the series, more of these mysteries are going to come forth, right? Over the planet. Yeah. Wonderful. Please keep
Yes.
going, Beena.
Okay. We're sound shielded. We'd hardly be able to hear ourselves otherwise, Biella added. They could hear the fantastic chorus of the thousands upon thousands of birds, but at a pleasant volume, combined with the wind in the trees and other natural sounds, a delightful symphony. Controls are built into the bench. Wow.
So she's just giving a little bit of a quick there, just to say, okay, just informing them a little bit here. And also through this giving of these facts, which aren't really necessary to share, she's creating space for Haila. Yes? Right? See?
Yes.
So there's a consideration to this, right? And also just information, right? And the controls, obviously, if you want to have the sound, all the way, not muted or muted even more, you can do that, so yeah, and obviously also to raise and lower this pitch.
Okay. They stared at the incredible spectacle for a while, giving Hiela the opportunity to tell
Haila,
her
Haila,
story.
Haila.
Hela, okay, giving Hela
Like
the
Haila, Haila.
Hela, okay,
Hmm.
the opportunity to tell her story at her own choosing. I heard you, Biella. Talking to Illuminia after the telling of the original story, Hela started. I don't remember all of it, but this stayed with me. What good would the world be What good would the world be without joy and happiness and sweetness and love and fun?
All right. So just to put this in context here, it comes clear later on, but it's helpful to be aware of it in the start too. Haile is now quoting what she heard Biella say to Illumina. Yeah. So that there is right. She's quoting Biella, right, where she says, "I don't remember all of it, but this stayed with me. What good?" Because you can see it by the small quotation marks there, right? Not the
Yes.
double. And so Biella said, "What good would the world be without joy and happiness and sweetness and love and fun?" And this is what you were talking about in your thought for the day. Yeah. This is exactly the same sentiment. It is applied to whatever we do. We do with joy and happiness and sweetness and love and fun. Yes. Was that not what we were doing this morning? All
Yes.
of those six qualities there: joy, happiness, sweetness, love, fun, five. Yeah. They were all
Yes.
present. Yes. Marvelous. Sweetness is important, right? Because you
Oh,
might
yes.
say, okay, we had joy and fun, but love, okay, not so obvious. All right, maybe so. But sweetness, the sweetness is very crucial. Yes, right, Veena?
Yes.
It's a very
Exactly.
crucial element. And it was when you think of this, just us doing inventory and correcting stuff and doing boring stuff, right? Uh, but the sweetness was there. And it changed everything, right? It adds to the joy and the
Yes.
happiness and the love and the fun,
Exactly.
right? Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's very interesting that this comes, and it's written long ago, but it's so perfectly connected, that sentence, to what you were saying. It's incredible to me, incredible,
Yes.
right? And it sums it up so brilliantly, so
Yes.
brilliantly. Oh,
Yes.
magic, 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 magic.
Okay. We know this, but we also need constant reminders. And much, much more importantly, what we really, really need. Biella continued, relating what she'd heard Biella say to Illumina. What the
Yeah,
world really, really
yeah.
needs is a concrete and real model.
The concrete and real.
Model.
Ah, right, right, right. Yes.
You need to scroll.
Oh. Sorry. Was he making food? Sorry, sorry. All right,
Okay.
but that's actually an important point there, right? So
Hmm.
Haila is still talking, still relating what Biella had said to Illumina, right?
Hmm.
What the world really, really needs is a concrete and real model. And this is something that is not just a sentiment of Biella, but I also feel this very strongly. And that we do lack this in our worlds, right?
Hmm.
And part of our sharing and what we are doing here is to provide a different model of being. Yes, model of interaction, model of relating, model of sharing, and our personal model of being, our model of interacting. All of this, right? Part of what we do. Yes, and it's not idle. In other words, it's a big deal. Now, of course, we continually, on a day-to-day basis, work on on fine-tuning and adding to and morenessifying our personal ways of being. Yes, but we have to do it essentially out of trial and error and imagination. Yes, we use Biella and Ursula as our models. Yeah,
Yes.
and the whole concept of the new nobility. But nonetheless, in a personal way, we have to invent this. Yes, because yes, all right, we've got Biella to work from, but we don't see her, we don't hear her. Right? Yes, we get her from the story, But in our everyday today, we don't have a day-to-day model to follow. And so in this, we have to invent it and create it for ourselves. And we do this, right,
Yes.
Biella and Beena? We
Yes.
do this on a daily basis. We are continually refining and fine-tuning our way of being. And it's a trial and error. It's a trial and error process, right? And it's a wonderful trial and error process. It's a most fantastic thing. Yes,
Yes.
it's a wonderful thing. But to keep in mind though, this model that our role models of being are not role models that really we wish to follow. Okay, and we don't even realize that we are following and copying these ways of being, because it's just, it's something that we do innately and naturally. It's just part of how we, part of our DNA. We learn from copying, and the thing is that when you're a child, you tend to copy whatever is available. That's it, right? You don't judge whether it is good or bad, or you just copy it because you need something, and something is better than nothing. Yeah.
Yes.
So we don't realize that we can pick up all sorts of behaviors that aren't that desirable simply because we copy. Yeah. Like just being irritated at little things. Where did that come from? You picked it up from the environment, people around you, your parents, teachers, other children, right? See? See what I mean? But
Yes.
why? Why do we have to be irritated at nonsense? There's no good reason for it, right? Or to be offended, or any of these other nonsense things that have no logical sense to them whatsoever. But yet we do it because we copy, right? No good models. Uh, in all my life, I've never met in person somebody, that I feel that I would copy them as a person, right? So I don't have any role models in that sense. Yeah,
Yes.
because I set a high standard from the beginning. I was appalled at the example that my parents were. I was fortunate enough to realize that they were a negative example of their wonder, their beauty, their magic. Their power as parents came from what not to be. Yeah, but still, we don't have what to be, and the world is very lacking in what to be. Yeah,
Hmm.
and it's part of the reason for the story and why I would like it to be a TV series. But that's a very tall order for the actors to portray this moreness. But can be done. Can be done.
Yes. Okay. So continue.
Please.
Okay. An example, an exemplification of what to be, what to strive for, imaginations are limited. Realness is needed. So it can be copied and shared. That's how most of us learn from copying. It's very, very hard to learn via imagination and creating. That's the personal part. That's a work on your own, on your end. Your service, Luminia, is providing a very real and concrete model for living, not something hypothetical and unreachable, but real, here and now. Just being near you and knowing you is enough to transfer the knowledge, and thus the capability for others to also partake of that marvelousness.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, the new nobility are all about being. Yes.
Yes.
And the universe has conspired to be a partner in this. Very magical thing. In that, for most of the new nobles, after they've been new nobles for a while, life and attunement and fate and all, just the way stuff will work out, life and the universe conspires in some way to send the new nobles all over the agglomeration, right? So they spread out in all, and it tends to be that there's 2 of them per community of about 5 to 10,000 people, whatever the typical communities. So it just happens to be that way, and all they do there is be, right? Now their being is providing an example. Now be very, very, very cautious here. When I say, and when the new nobility says, our mandate is to promote being, yes, and we are out there as examples of being. Now, does that mean that we say and we think that you should be like us? No, absolutely not. We are examples of potentially an alternative way of being. Does this mean that you have to follow it? No. But having an example of an alternative is profound. If you're in a community, in a society where everybody's essentially being the same way, you're not even aware that it is possible to be in a different way, whatever that way may be. But when you see examples of radically different beings, it says, whoa, 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 wait a second. I don't have to be the way I am. If they can be different, so can I. I can be my own different. See? So it's very powerful what they do. It's incredibly powerful what they do. If you think back to your childhood and the examples of being that you had, think of how limiting it was that you didn't have this variety of choice, that you never even considered being in a completely different way. Ah, they're very okay. The new nobility are extremely sensible people, right? Sobriety is their middle name, right? They are incredibly sober as a culture, right? Sobriety and sensibility, absolutely something they work at very hard. So they're very okay. They're very together.
Okay, continue.
Please.
Yes. A very, very great service indeed. No preaching or something or remonstrating. What is the word? Remonstrating. Yes.
Remonstrating, yeah.
Remonstrating or shoulds and shouldn'ts. No
Yeah.
pressure of any kind. No judgments. But we need some scrolling.
Oh,
No
yeah. Oh,
judgments.
right.
Okay.
More?
No. Okay. Okay. No pressure of any kind. No judgments. You just are what you are. A fantastic gift to be enjoyed in any way anyone wants. But folks like me can be dense and perhaps sometimes will need the tiniest of hints that our contributions would be appreciated, and they'll be like, oh, okay, oops, I didn't realize. Of course, I'll be more than happy to help. Then, with the contribution, their joy and pleasure is fulfilled and completed, as that is how most see the world. Nothing for nothing. If they hadn't contributed, they wouldn't be able to use the value they acquired. But you have to just be thoroughly and
One
fully
moment, Beena. One
just
moment.
be. Yes,
One
yes.
moment. Biella says something very casually there, or not too casually, but sort of just in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, then, with the contribution, their joy and pleasure is fulfilled and completed. Right? It's a subtle understanding of the psychology of many people that if they don't feel like they've contributed, they cannot enjoy, they cannot take value. Right? Like if people get things for free, then sometimes they don't feel like they're entitled to use it because they didn't pay for it. Yeah.
I guess most of the time.
Right. And that's what Biella is referring to here. Huh?
Yes. But you have to just be thoroughly and purely just be who you are. Be pureness.
Yeah. 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 Be pureness. Yeah. Mhm. Carry on, please, Beena.
Yes. You are already. Just immerse yourself in that. Hela paused, catching her breath. Hela had overheard a most unusual conversation. Biella had been repeating something she'd said to Illuminia ages ago. Long before their coming to Nobelia, they'd been on a somewhat isolated planet, with little of their own resources at the time. The contribution Biella was referring to was assistance with food, money, or a place to stay.
All right.
Everybody
So
else
let
just,
me pause there a little bit, Beena,
yes, yes.
to comment on this.
Mhm.
In our world here, we do not have a mechanism in place which supports people who contribute to the world simply through being. Yeah?
Hmm.
There's no mechanism to support it. Now, of course, the new Nobility Corporation is precisely such a mechanism. Not only are they supporting the new nobles, because that's their main mandate, but they also support people like Dream Deer, innocence, right? Dream
Hmm.
Deer is not somebody who really can fit into society in any way. Yeah,
Yes.
she's anomalous. She's different. She's unusual. Her way of being, it just doesn't merge. It doesn't gel. Doesn't fit. Right now, in our world, people like Dream Deer, right? And Dream Deer is yes, the character in the tree is very different, but the essential underlying personality is based on a very real person. My friend, and they also a hairdresser, but they struggled. They struggled mightily. They didn't fit in anywhere, and people didn't understand them. And her unique way of speaking, people thought she's stupid and retarded when she isn't, and stuff like this, right? They had no they had no space in their conception of people to be able to appreciate a dream for being just different, right? So there was no space for her in the world. And really, what she needed was to be supported, right? Like, but there's no space in the world. Yes, all right, we do put people on disability pensions or mental and that, but she doesn't fall into any of those boxes. She's just very very different, right? And this is a big point, that the world does not have space for this. But if people were to realize and appreciate that that people like this add so much to the world, because all right, Dream Deer struggled. She wasn't a particularly joyful person. She was a
Hmm.
bit bitter
Hmm.
because she'd suffered a lot, right? But when such people are given freedom, like the dream in the story, she's a very joyful, wonderful, delightful person. Whenever you see her, she's like a bird or a flutterby. She just adds moreness and joy and sweetness and happiness and goodness, because she's allowed to be and has space to be who she really is. Yeah,
Hmm.
and this is a magical extra gift, a contribution to the world. Yeah, people
Yes.
like that, innocence, they show us alternative ways of being. And if we realize this as a society and make space for it, we add tremendously to the richness and diversity of our culture and our society. All right? So next time you see somebody like that, be charitable towards them and help them. Let's put it that way. Does it make sense what I'm saying, Beena?
Yes. Yes.
I mean, I'd even put you in this category. Well,
what?
Wow. I'll put you in this category. You add to the world just by being. And you don't fit into the normal categories of society. Yeah?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Oh. And should you be made to force, if you were to be forced to fit into those categories, this is just a crime against you as a person. Yeah? I mean, all your magic and moreness would be lost. And this nearly did happen, but the universe came and intervened, right?
Yes.
A very magical story. It was very traumatic for you at the time.
Yes.
But it was a necessary trauma because you didn't have enough awareness and understanding to realize that what you were doing, which you assumed to be sensible, was in fact completely ruining your life. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Are you one of these magical people, Beena? A very big deal, this. It's a very big deal, this. And there's more of it's coming into the story later, but I want to really emphasize this point, right? At the time, Illumina and was in the space where she didn't have her well, in the story now, she was just being, but she was struggling to just survive on a physical way. And she didn't have, at the time, Illumina didn't understand how to leverage this and simply ask, And she would have just asked for help and people would have helped her. She never did this, right? And didn't have that inner yet. She learned it later, but, didn't learn it then. So Biella is, at the time, Biella helped her to shift out of this way of being where you just sort of do your own thing and hope for the best. No, you got to take some action, right? And have that sophistication to do that. But at that time, Illumina was extremely innocent. And she didn't have that, didn't have the sophistication to know it. So this is the conversation. Why Biella is sharing it here with Illumina at that time after the origin story. We don't know yet. Maybe we'll find out. I'm not sure. We'll see. Anyway, keep reading, please, Beena. Too brilliant. I love this. Enjoying this very much.
Illumina would spend all her time being of phenomenal service to people simply by virtue of her interaction with them. But they did not always make the connection. Illumina herself could use a bit of help. The conversation repeat had been for the benefit of some aspirants who were to about undertake a similar trip.
That's why Biella was sharing it. Yeah, for the aspirants. Right.
The new nobility easily had the means to finance all aspirants, but being without resources was a fundamental part of becoming a new noble. Knowing how to manage and thrive in adverse circumstances was imperative. The insight
Beena,
into psychology, yes?
think of this now, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to, right now, today, yes, go to a foreign country,
yes,
with no resources.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Now, can you think that how you would be in a situation where applying way of impeccability Yes, putting it to full practice. That would be, and you would have to in order to prosper and thrive and survive and get by. Huh?
Mm.
You'd have to use every aspect of way of impeccability, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, wouldn't that be a marvelous thing to do?
Yes.
Oh, I mean, it sounds kind of rough, and you say, but who would do it, voluntarily? Well, if you were an aspirant, as a teenager, or in your early 20s, right? As a young person like that, you're like, whatever, okay, it's an adventure, we're going to do it, and this is sort of part of like student culture, when students go backpacking across Europe or whatever, right? Isn't that the same thing? You see what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
The same logic, right? The value of it is quite profound, right? Now, a lot of times when they do that, they're not completely without resources, but still. And for an aspirants, some of them who may have led very sheltered lives, like Beena, think of what
Yes.
it would mean to deal with people that you never dealt with in your life before, right?
Oh, yes.
You'd have to apply all of your skills of
Okay, it was kind of.
strategy and sobriety and sensibility. Now, as the aspirants, they don't do this as an individual, right? Yes, you could argue that go on your own. This would be the ideal test, but it's also dangerous, right? So they go out as pairs, at least as two, sometimes three, sometimes four, but mostly as a pair. Why? Because you get the opportunity to discuss things. And when it comes to strategic decisions, right, and you're dealing with newness, having alternative perspectives to bounce off of each other, and having a backstop, somebody to check, because you might just assume that what you think is sensible, and someone, no, but hang on a second, wait, right? So this is a very, very, very powerful and very useful part of the training, is the discussion, right? To go out as pairs, right? Makes all the difference, right? Makes sense, Beena? And of
Yes.
course, it just makes it more fun as well, right? Why does it have to be
Yes.
stressful? No, it doesn't have to be stressful. You're doing it with somebody. It's just a joy. It's just a magical joy, no matter what situation you're in, Yeah. As you know, Beena, we've been through some, right? We were connecting, via the internet, but at times where things weren't always that smooth and fluid, and we still had a wonderful time, right? Didn't matter. Yes, it made the difficult times fun, having that connectivity. Yes, right?
Mm.
You remember?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was
So
a
there's
very
moreness to it. There's moreness to it. But again, too, that when it comes to the training of the aspirants, it's not all just discussion. There's some very real practical training like this, right? That
yes.
takes place. Big deal. Big deal. I don't share too much on the detailed training of the aspirants, because I don't want to lock it in. I want to leave it open, because it is fairly fluid and open. But yeah, there are some things like this that are part of it, right? See, you can't just be trained on Nobelia, because now you're going to get it distorted. Because everybody on Nobelia is all wonderful and nice, and they assume the best of intent. But this you're not going to find in other places in the world, in the galaxy, right? So that's why you do need that kind of real world training that's other than the real world of Nobelia, right? Because it is an exceptional society. It's not representative of of the greater society in the galaxy. Yes.
Yeah.
Please
I
continue,
had a
Beena.
brief, like not on this level, but like on a micro level experience when I went to Arts Council. Uh,
Exactly.
it was,
Oh,
yeah,
oh, 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 you had it majorly there. Oh, yeah.
yeah. It was like I was not
Yeah.
aware even the language they were using. Like they
Yeah.
were speaking
Yeah.
Urdu, but you know what? Like this kind of a street language is different.
Yeah.
And the way people joke with each other, they tease each other. I had no idea ever, like, okay, how this, like, people can tease each other. And also um, the work environment competition,
Right.
bullying, and politics, and
Right.
and, um, and also that
Right.
the culture of that praising your boss. And it was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and also
Yeah.
like asking for favors. um
Yeah.
it was all there. People around me
But
were,
also, Beena, Arts
yes,
Council, if you had to pick one place to go and work, that's the ideal place, right? Because yes, you have
this,
people from all walks of life, and some of them were quite rough, right? But
yes,
also you had refined and sophisticated people, and people who were into moreness and into right. So you had the entire cross section. It was
exactly,
absolutely the best possible place that you could have chosen to go and work.
yes. and
Fantastic.
and it,
Universe
it
looking out
was,
for you.
yeah, I saw first time in my life I saw drug addiction. And like, okay, yes, people were drunk, and people
Right.
lying, and of course yelling on top of
And
it,
swearing.
and swearing. Okay, I saw some people swearing, like, okay, yes, but not like that, never.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and
Not
and I,
casually, not just as part of their conversation.
yes, and I saw people, and girls also. That was of course not bad, nothing, but for me it was unusual, it was new. That
Yeah.
girls, they are from the morning till night, like midnight, they are just there. And for me, it was
Yeah.
like, and for what? So, like, okay, they have no classes, nothing, but they're there. And
Yeah.
so that was the thing. I saw people who are coming, like, okay, after traveling 2 hours, taking different buses, and coming there. And I saw, so there were so many incident in my life which I did not ever experience because I was so protected. Of course, I still am. Thank God for that. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
But also having a glimpse and having an awareness of that the other side of life also exists. In reality,
Yes.
it exists.
Yes.
Was missing
Yes.
from my life. So
Yes. Yeah.
I was there, and even people younger than me were trying to protect me because they were aware. They were able to
Right.
see that, okay, oh, this is something different. And then,
Yeah.
and of course I got, but as you mentioned that, okay, the skills of impeccability, I was not aware of it. It was innate to me that i I never paid attention to when people try to share something which is not interesting to me. I never say that, oh, this is like ha ha nothing, no, but I will simply ignore that because I don't want to pay attention to this. I
And
learned
that's a
this
fantastic
because,
skill. Yeah.
yes, of course now it is way more refined now, but
Yeah.
this was innate to me, and that helps me a lot. It protects me a
Yeah.
lot from very dangerous situations because they tried.
Yeah.
Some people tried to say things, and at that time when I was not getting it, but at least I was aware that there is something they are trying to communicate. That was awareness.
Yeah.
What exactly, I don't know, but there's something. And that was the moment I just said, okay, I'm not going to pay attention
Right. They were
because
trying to communicate superiority games. That's what they were trying to do.
yes, kind of like, okay, sometimes like some jokes which are like, okay,
Right.
dual
All right.
meanings, all that. and and
Yeah.
and they
Yeah.
tried, like in the beginning some people tried, But I was not aware what exactly they mean, but I was aware that there is something.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I just simply said, okay, what do you mean? I just asked them right there, standing, looking into their eyes and say, okay, is this something you are saying it to me? And that was the moment they said, no, 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 no. I was just asking, say this. So yeah,
No.
because of course, no one actually asked in front of other people, like, okay, oh, you were saying something like this. So for them, it was a different thing. Another time, it was a different strategy, and I said, I'm not getting what you're saying, but I will try
No.
to do as much as I can according to my job description and resources. So, and that was the shutdown there. So what
Of
I'm
course,
saying,
all of that underlying what they're doing is subtle superiority games, right? They're
oh,
making a joke which they know you're not really going to get, and you're a bit ignorant of it. And because of that, it's like, she's kind of clueless and stupid, right? But of course, that makes her look, whoever did it makes them look superior. But when
yes,
you ask about it, when you bring it into the open, the whole thing collapses because you can't explain what you were doing.
exactly.
No?
So
It goes
one
away.
of the choreographer of that stage play, with his team, I was taking care of them, of course, also a bit
No.
extra because they were really working hard. So
Okay,
one day,
good that you're back, Norma. Wonderful.
oh yes, thank you, Noah. So he came up with some joke, like, okay, he says that, okay, with all his team, that we are going to ask Beena that today you are going to, because we don't have someone, so you are going to dance on a stage.
Oh,
So
wow.
okay, yeah. So that was something like, they were aware that it is impossible, of course. Uh, so he says, Beena, okay, so yes, okay, now today you are going to, and I said, what? And he says, oh yes, okay, and I will teach you. And I said,
Wow.
okay, yeah, yeah. He was trying to be very serious, and all his team
Mm.
were there. And then I said, he says, okay, I'm going to teach you. And I said, no, I'm not going to do this. He says, but I'm going to teach you. And I said, that would be wonderful if you can teach me, but I can only take lessons after this whole project. So thank you so much. And he said, I was trying to tease you, like I was trying to, like, okay, yes, but you didn't get it.
And he's backfired because you took him seriously. Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant.
I said, okay,
Brilliant.
I can only take lessons after this whole project finish, but not right now. So he was like, okay. So he says we ganged up for
Backfire.
this, that we are going to panic you, that okay, oh, you have to do this and all that. So
Mm.
because when you are
Brilliant, Beena.
working
Brilliant.
some projects like this, you are
Yeah.
like a substitute. You have to be a substitute for everything. Like, okay, oh, whatever it is, just do it.
Now, right there, we have a great lesson on the value of character. If you simply stay true to your character, and all you did, you were earnest and honest. Those two
Yes.
qualities got you through all of that, right? Earnestness and honesty. If we don't compromise on those, we got no problem. Everything always is there. It works out. Yeah.
Yes.
But we're not taught that, unfortunately. You grew up where that is important, and you made an effort to bring that into the fore. Now, obviously, being honest sometimes was very difficult, and you got into trouble for being honest, like when you scolded that one uncle who was, you know, inappropriately messing with your sister, right? Well, he didn't do anything actual physical, but he just gave her inappropriate gift, right? Remember?
Mm. Mm. Yes.
Yeah. So, and that caused a lot of trouble, your honesty there,
Oh,
and they didn't
it was
understand it.
like 200 people is staring at me, like 200
Mm.
people.
But it's
And
good.
it was
We can't give up on our honesty. We
it
can't
was
give
it
up
was
on
a
our
bad
honesty.
name also. Like everyone was saying that, okay, Beena
Yeah,
is
yeah.
disrespectful towards her uncle, disrespectful towards her uncle.
No, he was the one who was being disrespectful. But,
Yeah.
to go against convention is very difficult. So as children, sometimes we have to learn to bide our time. Don't give up on your honesty. Just understand appropriateness at the same time, and say, I can't be appropriate now because the culture won't do it, but I can be later. When I am an adult and I can get to choose and be, okay, then I'm going to
Oh,
be.
yes.
So don't lose it
In
internally.
Muslim and in the Pakistani culture, the parents, you cannot say anything. Muslim religion, of course, also that you cannot
Right,
say no to your parents in conditions. There are some conditions. Other than that, like okay, no, whatever they are saying, okay, you just do that,
right,
okay, and be kind and be respectful towards them and all these things. But my mother is still, she like from the childhood since now, like till now, she is still having problems with me because I ask like, okay, yes, you are asking me to do this, but tell me why I have to do this.
Mm.
And asking questions, it is super
Want
irritating for
more,
my mother.
want more,
But
want
but
more.
the problem for me is I cannot just give up on asking questions because I want to know. For me, this is the
Because you
most
cannot give up on being yourself.
for me, this is
But
the most
Beena, this
respectful
is
thing.
unfortunately you held on to Beena, but many people do give up and let go of themselves, right? And then they become other people, and it makes them very unhappy. And then they try and get it back later. You never gave up on yourself. Huh?
Yes, for me, this is very respectful. If I'm asking question, I'm giving my full attention to your things, whatever you have said, and I want to know more about it. I want the clarity, so that is something I just, for me, it's a respect gesture that I'm
Right,
asking
right,
questions. If I'm not asking
right. So
questions, like I'm not listening to
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah. So what's important is that we learn from people like Beena.
Hmm.
For who knows why you got lucky to have this understanding that you need to hold on to yourself. Yeah, but you did,
Yes.
and who knows why? It's just luck. Who knows? Whatever, doesn't matter.
Yes.
It doesn't make you better or worse or anything. No, it just
Just
means that we need to learn from people who have the luck to have clicked onto something that works, right? And
yes.
this is the examples of being is what I was trying to say, right? That we need
Yes.
to have a way in which, especially innocence, can be supported in our culture, because innocents struggle because they are innocent, and that's to make them uninnocent simply to survive. That seems, excuse me, seems a great crime. Yeah,
I gave up on few things in my life. Like, okay, I was doubting my understanding at the time because I was being told that no, it is not. Like you can, it should not be your thoughts about someone on something. But it was my understanding. But I didn't have, of course, any proof of that. So then I started doubting my own understanding and comprehension, yes, of situation and people, and especially intent. Uh, understanding of understanding someone's intent is something you cannot prove. At least now I can
correct,
say things
correct.
about that okay, they are by implication it means that, but it was not part of my vocabulary at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
which is
Yeah.
very
Now you have
profound
the
when you have.
conceptuality to be able
Exactly.
to express that. Yeah,
Exactly,
which
when
is
we
the
have
great
this by
power of way of
implication.
impeccability, right?
Exactly. This it's a life-changing thing when you have just this one line by implication in just
Yeah,
but it's a whole concept, and it's a
yeah,
life-changing concept when you understand that what is actually by implication means, and what how actually you can make your point of view clear to others, that okay, what you really are feeling and what you are trying to say and how you understand things. So just saying that okay, by implication is a big deal for me.
oh
But
yeah,
it's still, of course, I was lucky that I get back to the way of impeccability, and I got so much things sorted out, so many things sorted out in my life. One more thing, I was feeling that I can see that I can foresee, you can say that as more chapters and more we will go into this story, that you will we will have more clarity of just be, because it's a very popular and very famous
yeah.
phrase nowadays, like okay, everyone just say that, okay, but
All right,
this is the most confusing phrase also, because
yeah,
just be,
yeah.
okay.
All right.
because
Let's
because
elaborate on that. When
no,
the new
I think that okay,
nobility
it is
say,
going to
oh,
come into
oh,
the
okay,
later chapter,
oh yeah,
when
but now it came in this chapter
okay,
because Biella says it to Nobelia, to Illumina. She says, be pure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
So when you think of, right, she says, just be who you are. Be
Yes.
pureness. When
Yes.
you think of being and you say, okay, what does just be? Be pure. Be pure, my pureness, not artificially. Be pure to myself. In other words, don't corrupt yourself with external things. Hold on to what is right and good for you as you see it. Yes. Now, it may turn out that that's not ideal and good, and you'll change it later. But your pureness is the ability to hold on to what you feel is right until it proves itself to be otherwise, and then you change. Right. So pureness also involves change when it's necessary. Correct. So when we think of being as being pure or being honest, being true to yourself, right? Now think of being just being when I say be true to yourself. See, just being, right? Being pure, being true to yourself. Okay, now I know what it means. Yes. Maintain your integrity, in other words, another way of saying it, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is something I
Or you
was
could say maintain your individuality. Now, to maintain your individuality, don't do this at the expense of anything else. You're not looking to be an individual for the individual's sake. You are simply holding on to what is right and true and your pureness, right? That's all. Your pureness will involve changing because if I hold on to, I do something and I, well, no, this actually, no, now I've become more aware and I realize this doesn't really work and this is not ideal. Okay, I change. Maintain your purity. If you don't change, then you start to compromise and corrupt yourself, right? See what I mean? But just being, it's in other words, it's just being real, not being artificial. If we put it in the negative, don't be artificial, don't compromise, don't corrupt yourself, right? See? Now it makes more sense when you look at it from the opposite side, right? Make sense, Beena?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
And of
was
course,
thinking.
this. Oh, go ahead.
No, please continue.
Oh, I just wanted to say, this point of promoting being and and to just be, this of course is intentionally a bit vague. Why? Because that's what the entire Nobelia culture, Nobelia living is all about. It is the exploration of what exactly being means to me. Way of impeccability, capital H hearing, attunement, nobility, right? All of these are ways of being. Yes. So every single thing comes down to exploring different ways of being. And you can take all of those different ways of being and you say, I like this one, I'm going to use this, or some of it and not all of it, I'm going to tweak and refine it. But all the time you're adding to how you are, your own being. Yes. This is the entirety of the culture, is exploring what being means to each individual. Yeah? That's the whole fun. It's a brilliant thing. When you look at it through the lens of ways of being, of course, are particular instances of being. But when we see art, all art is representations of ways of being. This is what draws our interest, ways of being. We are fascinated with ways of being, inordinately fascinated. Yes. And because ways of being extend our possibilities of being. We can see, oh yeah, I like that, and yeah, I want to have some of that in me, but not all of it. Just and we tweak and adjust, and we take and we leave. And also when we see, oh, I don't want to be that. If I see what I don't like, it helps me know what I do like and what I am. Right. So we learn from other ways of being. And when you look at all art through this lens, right? Music, art, painting, sculpture, whatever, doesn't matter. Movies. When you look at it through the lens of ways of being, and all of it is portraying ways of being. Make sense, right? Like you say, but how does a painting portray a way of being? It's portraying a particular mood and an attitude. And when I feel that, I say, do I want this in my life? Do I want to have it regularly? How much of it do I want? See, it's a way of being. A mood, a feeling is a way of being. Yeah? Very powerful. Very, very profound. and ridiculously powerful to understand that what grabs our interest is essentially ways of being. Yeah? It's a deep, sophisticated understanding of what comprises our culture, our entertainment, our interest. Yeah, isn't that something, Beena? I know we've
Yes.
spoken about this before, but it's just a ridiculously powerful awareness and understanding. Really, really, really powerful. Yes, being true to yourself, Venus, is Norma. Yes, that's what you said. Yes, Norma. We say a lot of the same things. Impeccability is the course I wanted to share. This way of impeccability, I'd love to share with you, Norma. And, you doing it. This would be a really, really powerful, wonderful, magical, awesome thing. Really, really special. Anything more, Bina, to add on this point of being?
I had that confusion in the beginning because when I was reading that, okay, everybody was saying that, okay, just be. And some spiritual, conventional spiritual ideas of just being is to get rid of all the emotions, feelings, temptations,
Ah,
expression kind of thing that, okay, oh, you don't feel triggered, you don't feel happy, like you don't feel overwhelmed, you don't feel it list goes on and on and on. So for me, it was like, okay, what do you want me to be? Like a just be like a loaf of bread or what? Like, okay, I don't feel anything, I don't have
why? Why?
any
Why?
perception, being neutral and all these things. And then that is something I have experienced with when I was discussing with other people, that mostly people have this idea, or some people they don't have clarity what it really means for them, but they just accept this idea. And when they say that, oh, it sounds like a very profound thing that they are saying, that okay, oh, just be. But when you actually go into detail, mostly they
Yeah.
don't have a clarity. And
No, and also there's an agenda sometimes. Like
yeah,
when you said, "Oh, this just be." Well, what do you? Well, actually, you just want me to be a vegetable. Actually, really, that
exactly.
is the agenda. If I can
Exactly.
get convince you to be a vegetable, then I'm by comparison superior to you. Here's a profound insight, right?
Yes.
When we understand that our cultural education has an agenda, that's when we wake up to the reality of the world. Most of our cultural education, in other words, the ways of being, should, how you must behave, all the things that get told to you, there's an agenda to it. Whoever's pushing that stuff out is looking to justify their own nonsense and looking to get you to also be as full of nonsense as whoever is up there and pushing this stuff out in order to justify theirs. And what's the agenda? The agenda is the superiority paradigm, right? You don't want, you can't be better than me because I'm full of nonsense, but I'm pretending to be fantastic. So you better not go and be actually fantastic. No, you got to be just as full of nonsense as me. So most of our culture is pushing this idea that you must be flawed, you must be broken, you must be messed up. You can't
Hmm.
be without that. Yeah, it's like there's a wrongness to it, even when
Yes.
somebody thinks of this to say, well, I'm not going to have this nonsense. It's like this big deal. No, nonsense. Of course you can. Yeah. Hmm. So when we just to understand that culture has an agenda, it's a very powerful insight. Very powerful insight. And that agenda is superiority. You know. So when we learn that, when we're aware of this, then we don't take on all of these cultural things. Like you should worry. Why? Why? There's no value to it. There's no logic to it. It doesn't help you in any way. Be prepared, yes. Be thorough, investigate, look at what you need to do, be aware, but worry, no. That's a negative on the thing. You can have a positive perception of what's, potentially may or may not come. Worry is insisting it's going to be negative when you have no facts to support that. It's just foolishness. But somehow we've been taught that you should worry. We've been taught this because it benefits somebody with their agenda, right? because they do it and they don't know why they do it, and they're being foolish and they don't want to acknowledge they're being foolish, so now they make it to be a should and a supposed to and a normal thing. There's nothing normal about it whatsoever. It's just your foolishness. Now you want to come and pretend it's normal. No, it's not normal. So this is so much of our culture comes from BMNs who are pushing a justification of their nonsense, or they do it for superiority reasons. Right? Yeah. I mean, the subtext there also is worry about me.
Worry about me?
Yeah, for the BMN, right? The Lord in charge or lady or whatever, right? They're pushing this. Yes, you must worry, but you've got to be worrying about me. So worrying is okay and it's legitimate as long as it's about me. There's a superiority subtext underlying it. It's preposterous, really, to realize that our culture comes from the feudal system. It's a horrible culture that's designed to keep. If you're not the one up at the top there, this culture is designed to keep you to be a willing slave, unthinking, unquestioning, conformist, you know, not overly happy, because if you're too happy, then you're not dependent on, and you don't need to come and work and be a slave. It's just the most absurd, incredible manipulation ever. We have to realize that, be aware of it. Very powerful. Make sense?
Yes.
It is joyful to connect with the spirit. Yes, exactly. Absolutely. A whole different logic, Norma. You to them and they to you. I'm not sure the connection for that comment, but yes, wonderful. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. Yes, Beena?
Yes.
What do you think? What do you think?
Oh, this is exactly what I was trying to share there, that people had a lot of messed up ideas, sorry to say, about
Yeah.
spirituality. And of course, it's not them who get messed up ideas uh,
Yeah.
entirely, because a lot of school of thoughts, you can say that they also project this as something very profound, very, very amazing. That, oh, just be. So like, in actuality, they're saying, okay, just exist. So
Yeah.
don't be a beneficial to the
Yeah.
environment. Don't inspire others. Okay, just by being yourself. It means like,
Yeah.
okay, if you just exist, what you're going to do? Nothing. Look at how the new nobles, just being,
Yeah.
just being, they inspire others. They provide this example that this is also
Bye.
a way of being. So it is not
Bye.
just existing, but
Bye.
they are existing as someone who has moreness, as someone who has that pureness, and they have this ability and opportunity to be themselves, purely,
Yeah.
entirely themselves, not just existing. Of course, all the minerals and even the plants exist, and they are not existing only, they are doing a lot. So, by being human as a privileged species, we how we can expect from ourselves that we are just going to exist. Okay, just people in coma, they are just lying there existing and doing nothing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But this whole world is a projection of our reactions and actions. So when we have something in this world, this is our reaction are going to determine that, okay, how this world is going to be for us.
Yeah.
And when I am, okay, or anyone, of course, like especially in this case, new nobles, when they give a reaction or response towards something, like towards nature, towards other people, towards some perceptions, concepts, ideas, it adds value. It adds a whole lot of value to this world.
Yeah.
So it's a completely opposite to, for me, by just existing and holding on to anything, like, okay, I'm not going to even say anything. Okay, I'm not going to be judgmental. I'm not going to share my things. Nothing. But they, for the complete opposite of just existing, but just purely being themselves and be impeccable. It's a completely different thing for
Exactly.
me.
Exactly. Exactly. And also, right, this whole conversation came from that one word, model. Yeah.
Mm.
All of this is an alternative model. Now, I want to emphasize this again. It's an alternative, not the alternative. Very big difference. It's a possibility, not a must. That's superiority paradigm thinking. This is simply showing you here is a potential option, right? And if there's one potential option, there can be others. You got to find your own potential option. This may gel with you. You may find this wonderful and think the new nobility culture is the be all and end all of everything. Great. Then become an aspirant, right? But if this doesn't resonate with you, then find what does, right? This is only an example, not the example. Yes? Very important to understand that, right? I mean, the new nobility will always tell people who ask about it, it's not for everybody. It's not elitist or exclusive. It's just that we understand people are different. It's only valuable to you if this is what appeals to you. If it doesn't appeal to you, it's not valuable, right? It's not innately, inherently something you should do. No. Yeah. And it's very important, right? Everybody got to follow their particular path, whatever that is, right? Yeah. Very important,
Yeah.
right, Beena? Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so now
Very,
I
very,
guess
very
that
important.
it's the right time to
It is.
process,
It is.
and then
It is. It is.
we will
It is.
see.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Norma, for participating and your comments. Always a joy. Always a joy. Always a joy. Actually, you know what? Hold on 1 minute. There is something I want to do. There is something I want to do. Hold on a minute. Hold on. Here we go. Just before we go, let me real quick. Let me real quick. Let's see. Where is this now? Oh, why is it not in order? Oh. Oh, okay. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hmm. I'll find it now. We'll get there in a moment. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I knew there was an easy way to do it. I was just making it. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Listen to this, Beena.
Mm-hmm.
To trust is to know. To know is to trust. Together they belong. And listen carefully when love arrives, singing its wistful song.
Oh, beautiful
Isn't that
and
something?
true. And true.
Isn't that
Yes.
something?
Yes.
Yes, beautiful and true. Exactly. Let me read it again. To trust is to know. To know is to trust. Together they belong. Listen carefully when love arrives, singing its wistful song. It's fantastic poetry. It's fantastic poetry. It connects to that that ineffable, right? Right? Right?
Yes.
Love singing its wistful song. What an image. What's a connectivity? And to listen carefully to that. Yes. Because to trust is to know. Very profound. Very profound. Very profound and potent poetry, yes?
Yes.
Can you guess who that poet is, by the way?
Oh, Norma?
Amron. Yes. Yeah.
I can guess that. She's a wonderful poet.
The most excellent poet, yeah. Fantastic, Norma. I hope you don't mind me reading it out here on this, but I really wanted to share it. It's wonderful stuff. Wonderful stuff. I enjoy your poetry very much. Very much. All right. All right. Well, let's read another one real quick, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sunday. I've never read this before, so I'm just reading it blind, right? Just so you know. Sunday. Originally the day of rest, when people work such long hours, giving themselves the best? Question mark. A good opportunity on this day. Can we focus on ourselves, come what may? Thoughts need a tweak. Have we loved truly during the past week? No? Question mark. But we can decide to love ourselves during the week ahead. It isn't selfish to love ourselves as we love each other. Whatever our sex, whatever our color, as we love all, we love one another. Read Corinthians 13, how to love, discover. A day of rest, a day to create. Love and joy is our true faith. Yes. Fantastic, Norm. Fantastic, fantastic. I love your heart. I love hearing your heart in these poems. Yeah. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Now, since I like threes, right, Beena? 3 being one of my favorite numbers, we'll have to read another one, right? Just to make it 3. You agree, Beena?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Let's see. I think maybe you can read one. Hold on, let me screen share. Yeah. Just for
Say it again,
practice.
sir.
Yes. I think you can read this next one. Just for
Okay.
practice of reading poetry blind, because to be able to catch the rhythm and the flow, it's a good skill to develop, to be able to read poetry blind, right? Do you know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Yeah. So
And
give it a shot. Go ahead.
it is not humility or anything. I really don't know how to read poetry well, so it is just be
Yeah,
bear with
yeah,
me.
yeah. Well, you're getting there. You're getting there. You're learning.
Yes. Okay. What is love? Is it the way I feel about the first cup of tea? Or the way hungry pussycat meows at me? Is it the shopping each day and I find hard to pay? Finally get in my car and drive away? Is it the phone that rings to say, Mom, bringing things? Or the angel that smiles as he lends me her wings? Or is it the man whom I love as he messages me saying, I love only you? Do you love me? What is love? Really? This is love.
It's love, Norma. This is love. This is love. This is love. I love your poem, Norma. I love your poem. Love your poem. Oh, I did see this one before. I thought I recognized it. Yeah. All right. That's enough. That's enough. That's enough. I love it, Norma. We'll read some more of your poems, and we'll read some of Beena's poems as well. I love Beena's poetry. I absolutely love it. And I love your poetry too, Norma. It's wonderful stuff. And I'm very fussy when it comes to poetry. Many of the classic, well-known poets, I'm like, sorry. I get an email every day, poem of the day. I stopped reading them. Uh, they just were not fun to read. They just weren't nice. Yeah. I just always so astounded at at how this was not so. I was really hoping for more, and I was really hoping to be able to read a wonderful poem a day. But well, I get it from Norma. Not every day necessarily, but yeah, it just amazes me that it's so, that the quality of poetry in general, if you ask me, is much less than desired. And, yeah, I'd like it to be a lot better quality. But what can you do? At least I have you, Norma, and you, Beena, that write wonderful poetry in my life. It's a very wonderful thing. Wonderful. All right. On that note, we shall end it unless you have any more thoughts and comments. Beena,
No.
Norma, anything to add?
Oh, yes,
Anything to add, Norma? Any comments before we go? Well, I moved away from there. I was on Norma's page, so I'm not seeing the comments if they're there. Hold on, Norma. Hold on. I'll come and check in a second there. I want to ask for comments and then and then I'm not there to read the comments. And then I'm not there to read the comments. Okay. Thank you, says Norma. Absolute pleasure, Norma. Absolute pleasure and a joy. Pleasure and a joy. You really are a poet, Norma. You really are a poet. All right. All right. On that wonderful, beautiful note, we shall end, and then we'll all see you tomorrow. So fantastic. I'm really pleased that we're back doing this. By the way, Beena, how long would you think that we were away from when we were doing the opens regularly, and then, we stopped, and then we started again? I stopped because I got ill. How long is that time, would you say?
Like 2 months.
Yeah, 3 months. It just
Wow.
seemed to me more like 6 months or a year. It just seemed so long. But it was 3 months, pretty exactly 3 months. Wow. Wow, I'm surprised that you think it's only 2 months. Doesn't it feel like it was ages ago that we did this?
Yes, yes, it
Yeah.
was, but it was like, okay,
5 years,
I can
says
even
Norma. For
remember
Norma, it was 5 years.
it.
Yes, Norma, I know you kept asking me, when are you going to do the opens again? When are you going to do the opens again? Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Norma. I'm pleased that you kept at it. I was keen to get back, and I'm very pleased that we're back doing it. I really enjoy these. It makes all the difference, right, Beena? Great joy,
Yes.
great joy.
Okay, so
All right,
bye
all
for
right. Bye
now.
bye, everybody. Bye bye, Norma. Bye bye, Norma. Bye bye, Norma. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. All right, stop live stream.